about what actually happens when you stop with being salesy and you actually focus on building authentic relationships. So most coaches believe that the way and the path to make more sales is through sending more Hey Girl invites and really getting those numbers up, right? Like 50 to 100 is usually where the pros will want you to be at. And there's a lot of coaches out there that go after that. And one of two things typically happens. On one end of it, you either end up becoming burnt out, like it will work for a little while, you become burnt out, and then the next month is a flop because you can't keep up with that speed of things. It's a lot of work to be sending out like so many invites every week. And then the other thing that can happen is people get disheartened because they're sending all these messages out, they're hearing no again and again and again. And while some of that is obviously part of the business, there definitely is a better way. So I want to talk to you guys about what actually happens when you get rid of this, I'm going to call it like commission breath approach, and you start focusing on building authenticity and building these organic relationships, and that is actually your main focus. So I'll start this with a bit of a story. When I first got started in the online world, my approach was the same thing. It was this sort of hey girl hustle, and I was talking to Beachbody coach after Beachbody coach, trying to really get to some of the key players in the industry, thinking like, this is the way that I can get my foot in the door. I can do some training with them, and hopefully they'll see that I have something really great to offer. So obviously, like aligning with you guys, like our intentions are good, right? Like you want to be giving value and serving your people. What I found happened is that unless I had a connection with somebody already, I would have to send them like 10 to 12 messages and try not to be spammy and try not to turn them off and just try to prove to them that I could help them. And it was a lot of effort going into messaging versus doing what my sweet spot is, which is training and development and working with coaches. So that's one thing I noticed right off the bat. As soon as I was able to really change my approach, it became more about showing up to serve and to add value versus hustling to get to that next person and get to that next person. And of course, there's the fact that that's a lot of energy for me that went in to try to connect with coaches that, some of them would never respond and, all that sort of stuff. So what happened is I started really honing in on my craft instead. I knew what my, hey Ursula, I really knew what my sweet spot was. Like I love to train people. I love to make things easy. I love to break it down. And when I started focusing on that, and what if I could just really produce great content for people. And social media is about people getting to know you. That's what it's about. And then you want to invite them into that intimate community that you can serve them, you can provide training, you can, you have freebies, you have all these things that build value and trust. That is where, for me, that lane felt much more authentic. But what happened after that was, it was crazy. As soon as I started focusing on that, one, not only was I much more satisfied in my business because I was fulfilling, what I needed to fill up my cup. I was doing the stuff that I love to do because I think all of us can probably raise our hand and say, that feeling of copying and pasting messages all the time isn't exactly why we got into coaching in the first place, right? That love came from a place of wanting to help people. And so when I started focusing on how can I get to know my customers more and provide more value, like I fell even more in love with what I could do and the possibilities. I started listening to my ideal customers more. I started realizing there were other areas that I could help them. And it became this sort of full circle impact that I was able to have because I got to know them better, so I knew what they wanted, so I could better speak their language, and then I could serve up better stuff. And guys, that was the difference for me of having inconsistent months, feeling like I was always hustling versus moving to this place of alignment where what I was putting out was really matching what my coaches, the people I desperately wanted to help, what they really needed. And it became this like automated process, which is where I think there's a lot of coaches out there that want to hear that and need to hear that you don't have to try to keep up with this hey girl hustle. Now, I'm not saying don't send those messages, because at the end of the day, if you do it in the right with the right wording, with the right authenticity, that can definitely be a strong part of your business plan if you want it to be. But I am saying that there is a better way. There is a better way to build out freebies and build out value and get people into an intimate community where you're utilizing your social media posts as a way to portray your values and to attract your people. It's sort of like your manifesto. And I like to think of it sort of like, if you guys have ever seen the Lululemon gift cards, they have all their beliefs on there, right? Like friends are more important than money, sweat every day. Like that manifesto is what goes out on social media with call to actions to get people to want to download your freebies and the different things that you're putting out there, to get them on an email list so then you can have a more intimate conversation. And when you start to pivot and you start to focus on the value that you bring to the table, not only are you going to be much more fulfilled, you'll be much more successful. And the way that I've seen it impact my business is I built something that can start to run a little bit more on autopilot, because once you set up, you have these things in place for yourself, you have your email series set up, like you can start to grow a lot quicker. It's like the difference between addition and adding up the people you can help versus multiplication and being able to multiply that impact over and over and over again. Now, the other example, I always love talking about Ashley Molstad, because she's obviously a huge part of the Beachbody community. She's obviously done very well for herself. And the one thing that I always like to remind coaches is that it's not like Ashley Molstad came from, back-to-back network marketing companies where she was top of the food chain and all of those. Like, she was not just more knowledgeable on being in sales, and that's how she became to be successful. What she actually did to become successful is she was authentically herself. And as you guys may know, she got picked up, one of her social media posts got picked up by People magazine, same girl, different angles. And that was like her really truly being herself, that authentic heartbeat. And that is what builds trust with people and allows you to build more of that relationship further down the road, right? So she really showcases that if you start honing in on your craft, you show up authentically, you will build authentic connections with your audience, and they will deeply, deeply want to work with you. So it's about being authentic, and it's about learning how to become an authority and not saying the same thing as everyone else. Because if you notice her post too, she is not the queen of saying things that she knows are just gonna get that is popular opinion. She really challenges that side of pushing the status quo and speaking out about things like a post-pregnancy body and not comparing yourself to others. Like, she has this angle that stands out and helps create her as an authority. So this topic I am so very passionate about, because I truly feel that you do not have to be salesy to increase your sales. I actually believe that there is a much better way, and that you can grow this business to whatever you want it to be without feeling like you've got to compromise. And it's this sucker's choice of, I've got to do one thing over the other. Either I've got to be salesy and that's what it's going to take, or I'm not going to be successful. Because guys, that is absolutely just, it's not the truth, and it's holding you back from reaching your full potential. So I'm going to be putting on a free training workshop to help teach you guys all about this. And it's going to be the week of March 23rd. So it's coming up. I'd love for you to to drop your email so that I can get you guys on the VIP list as soon as the date comes out. You guys will be able to be a part of that. The training is called The 4 Rules of Authentic Attraction: How to Sell Without Selling. And I'm so passionate about being able to share this with you guys. I think that, my hope for this is that maybe there's some of you out there that are like, I'm not sure I can do this. This salesiness, this, feeling of like people are blocking me and, I'm not getting responses, I'm getting a lot of no's. I know we can turn that around for you. And I know that this can be, your business can be a place of true authenticity and passion if you just learn these 4 things that you need to do to make that happen. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm so excited to be able to present to you and help you with this workshop, and I look forward to being a part of this journey with you. Thank you so much for watching.